problem for the Rocket during his CFL career. The pass complete to Jeff Fairholm. He makes the catch for a gain of about 4, and that makes Fairholm the third 1,000-yard receiver in the CFL this year. He only needed a yard coming into this game to go over 1,000 yards.
Well, he got a yard, but I think he had to pay for it. Look at him try to protect those ribs, and he did take a good shot. I think that's why he's out of the lineup. He's got really bruised. His ribs have a
pass complete to Donald Narcisse. A first down up at the 49-yard line. Obviously, the Saskatchewan passing attack is going to revolve around Donald Narcisse if the first plays of this opening quarter are any indication.
Well, before Narcisse caught the ball, we were trying to say Fairholm has a flak jacket on, but that doesn't really give you much protection.
Roughriders at their own 50.
Dan Farthing is in for Fairholm, playing the slot back position. The handoff straight ahead to Milson Jones, and Milson Jones will have a gain of about 4. Scott?
All right, Don and Joe, some new information on Jeff Fairholm. He elected not to wear the flak jacket in the game today, wore it in practice all this week to protect his bruised ribs, but said he didn't really want to wear it in the game because when he cradles the ball, he can't feel it. So he went out without it, but mind you, he's just come off favoring his ribs. He may yet have to put it on today. Don?
Fairholm is back into the ball game. His 244 receiving yards last week, 16 yards shy of the Saskatchewan single-game record established by Chris DeFrance. Austin was forced to try and run, and he was pulled down. Rodney Harding will be credited with the quarterback sack. The coaching staff, Joe, feel that Harding is having his best ever season.
And Rodney Harding feels that way. We were talking to him yesterday and then again today, and he said, if you want to get some action, just keep your eye on me because I'm going to be in there. I'm going to be giving it all I've got because I'm going to show, and he did on that one. He said, I'm going to show we've got the best pass rushing team in the league, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they're not far off.
His best individual performance was 3 weeks ago against the BC Lions when he had 3 quarterback sacks. The left-footed punter, Brent Matich, kicks the ball to Clemens, and he's tackled by Ray Elgard, the first man downfield. 6:14 remaining in the opening quarter. Ricky Foggy for the second week is getting some play selection assistance from the sidelines. John Kangemi is signaling plays in after receiving word from Ron Lancaster Jr. upstairs in the spotting box, and Foggy has indicated that he feels more comfortable in this situation.
Well, he said, let the coach think and let me play.
However, Foggy has yet to complete a pass. His first goes to the Rocket. The Rocket loses the ball. Stacey Hairston has it.
That's what's plagued them all year. They've had that same problem. The second effort, if you will. They want to try to get that extra yard. They're trying to struggle to get free, and they fumble the football. This is all the Rocket does, is he doesn't wrap the ball up. He doesn't protect the football. He's trying to get more yardage, and he just lets it roll out of his hand. It looks like he laid it out. Watch now. He just it rolls right out of his hand.
Brashovich may have helped the ball roll out of his hand, but Stacey Hairston was there to scoop it up. It's 1st and 10 Saskatchewan from the 32-yard line. Austin overthrows Fairholm. He was being covered by Don Wilson. It will be 2nd and 10.
Rodney Harding all over Fairholm, and that was the big part of that play because Fairholm was open. Austin didn't have a chance to get it to him. Well, Rodney Harding's coming out like he told us he would. Ottawa's 1st in the league in sacks. Saskatchewan 2nd. They're a sack more than the Toronto Argos, so this is a battle of the sacks today.
2nd and 10. The ball is at the 32, 5:19 remaining in the opening quarter in a 1-1 tie. Draw play with Milson Jones, and Milson Jones gets inside the 20 for a first down, upset by Reggie Pleasant. When Milson Jones gets up a full head of steam, he's a tough back to bring down.
Well, particularly when you're trying to get a sack. That's set up perfectly. You get all those offensive linemen turning your pass rushers out. Milson Jones was way out there.
First and 10 from the 19. Complete to Narcisse, and this will be another Saskatchewan first down. That's the 4th catch Narcisse has had today.
Yeah, there's certainly, well, there's Mrs. Austin.
Sorry, she's asleep. We love you. I miss you.
He's sleeping. He knows the old man's going to score.
He might wake up in time to see his dad put it in the end zone.
He better wake up soon.
But do you think at this stage of his life he really cares?
He better.
First and goal. Austin looking for Fairholm in the corner, and it was just beyond his reach. 4:04 remaining in the opening quarter. It's second and goal. The ball is at the 7-yard line.
You see Kent Austin referring to his notes. Unlike a businessman, he doesn't carry a briefcase. He carries a wristband. And what they want to do is make sure their formations coincide with the particular play call. That's the real coordination, and that's why they carry those wristbands.
Austin indicated that the Riders would throw some new wrinkles at Toronto this afternoon. Austin completes it to Elgard. Can he get to the end zone? He tried to reach out, but there's been no signal from the official. And it does not look as though he broke the plane, so it will be 3rd and goal from the 1.
Everybody in the ballpark knew that Austin was going to go to Elgard, including Donald Wilson. And Wilson makes a great effort when he he tries to get off him. Elgard's punching him, pushing him, shoving him, and now Wilson's pulling and tugging.
Wilson desperately hanging on to the jersey to prevent Elgard from getting to the end zone. 3rd and goal from the 1. Austin keeps. Touchdown. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders are able to capitalize on the Ragib Ismail fumble, and with 3:06 remaining in the opening quarter here at Taylor Field in Regina, a Kent Austin touchdown has made it 7-0, and David Ridgway, or 7-1 I should say, and David Ridgway will attempt the point after.
Well, Austin got all of the people out of there. He spread all 6 receivers to the wide side of the field. He had people all over the place. Nobody could pick up the quarterback sneak.
Ridgway adds the point after. 8-1. Saskatchewan leads Toronto. We'll be back with the Rider kickoff right after this. The Riders needed only 6 plays to move the football 31 yards after the Ragib Ismail fumble, and they have an 8-1 lead. That's the 56th time this season that the Argos have turned the ball over. The rocket on the return comes right up the middle, and he gets to the 39-yard line, where he's stopped by Bruce Boyko, a 32-yard run back. Scott?
Don, a few years back, the turf at Taylor Field was controversial because it was really indoor-outdoor carpet on top of a parking lot, so they replaced it with OmniTurf, and it has now become controversial because the players seem to be slipping and sliding all over it. OmniTurf is held down by sand. It's designed to give way or slip, not grab like artificial turf. People who run Taylor Field say the problem is teams treat OmniTurf like artificial turf when they should treat it like natural grass and wear the appropriate shoes. One team, the Eskimos, is blaming a broken leg by Doug Parrish on this turf. I guess the saving grace, Don, is that if Taylor Field is slippery, it is slippery for both teams.
That's quite true, and I've talked with offensive linemen, and they say going one direction, and I forget which direction it really is, but they have an advantage because they are going against the nap and the artificial surface.
Yeah, one way it'll bite, and the other way it'll slip. So every 5 yards it bites or slips. The only problem is they forget sometimes too, Don, just like you did, whether I'm on the bite side or the slip side.
Last night, the Hamilton Ticats defeated the BC Lions 34-20. Friday night, it was Edmonton 45-25 over Winnipeg. Another game this afternoon in the CFL, Ottawa and Calgary just underway at McMahon Stadium, and that game is still scoreless here at Taylor Field. It's 8-1, Saskatchewan leading Toronto. Ian Beckstead comes out of the ball game with 2:35 remaining in the opening quarter.
Blaine Schmidt will have to go to center now, and then Chris Green will go in at right tackle.
2nd and 11. Pressure coming up the middle. Jurison after Foggy gets the pass away. Incomplete. It was low, intended for the Rocket. The only pass completed by Foggy today, an earlier throw to the Rocket, but he fumbled. Jurison is back in the lineup after being out for a while with those injured ribs. It appears as though he's wearing a flak jacket.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. He really took a hit. Remember, we did the ball game when he caught that pass on a short yardage situation, broke his ribs, but Jurison did the big thing on that play and made Foggy throw when he didn't want to.
Olisic has kicked one of 59 yards, another 61-yarder. This is an end-over-end boot that Delgado has problems with. He fumbled and managed to get it back at the 39-yard line, and that's where Saskatchewan will scrimmage, 1st and 10. Hamilton, as a result of the win last night over BC, is now alone in first place with 16 points. The Argos are last with 8 points. In the West, Calgary now deadlocked with Edmonton for first place, but they have a game in hand. Saskatchewan 4 points back of the 2 Alberta teams. BC, of course, in the cellar. The Lions put together a 3-game winning streak, but have lost their last 2 games to Ottawa and Hamilton. Over the middle to Lucius Floyd, and the screen is going to be close to a gain of 10.
Austin knows how to work his people. He does a really good job of working. This is a screen pass. What he does, he lets the lineman in, and then he'll throw the ball over top of them. So in effect, the lineman rushing the passer, they do the wrong thing. That's when you're not supposed to rush the passer. How do you figure that?
Don Moen and Costello were able to bring down the Saskatchewan back, but not before he got another Roughrider first down.
That's the good thing about Kent Austin and the way he works his offense. He has screen passes, draw plays. He's not a mobile quarterback, but he uses enough other tools to make up for his lack of mobility.
The Roughriders have 8 first downs thus far in the game. The Argos have yet to pick up a first down. Narcisse is the receiver, and Narcisse is taken out of bounds just short of a first down. Ed Berry bounced Narcisse out. Boy, Austin really likes to throw the ball to Narcisse this afternoon.
Yeah, Don, what he's doing, he's taking advantage of the clearing by Fairholm and Elgar. They're driving the defense deep, and then he just dumps it off to his outside receivers.
That's the 5th pass that Narcisse has hauled in. 2nd and 2. Milson Jones is going to be dropped for a loss, taken back to the midfield stripe.
Jones with the ball.
Mike Campbell made the initial contact with Jones.
By 99, Mike
Campbell wants a holding call. You see him throw the imaginary flag? Did a great job on that play. He came in and made the stop. That's a key stop because they were in good field position. Watch him break through the inside. Milson Jones has no chance to make the break, and Brian Warren, he just came in and put the icing on the top.
As we said earlier, the Roughriders don't live by their ground game. They are last in the league rushing. They have averaged 73.6 yards per game along the ground. High punt by Matic, and the Rocket won't get a chance to return it as it was angled towards the sidelines, and he takes it out of bounds at the 15. But there's also a penalty flag in the play. That was a 39-yard kick by Brent Matic, a holding call against Toronto.
Penalty marker on that play.
Beautiful October day here at Taylor Field in Regina.
Holding, Toronto number 15, first down.
J.P. Esquerdo is guilty of holding. That takes the ball back to the 8-yard line. Actually, it's closer to the 7 than the 8.
You know, the Argos are least penalized of any team in the Canadian Football League, and that was the worst time to get a penalty.
Well, the Argo offense that had one of its better days last week against the Riders has yet to generate a first down. The pinball tries to run off tackle, but there are too many people there, including Gerald Bayless.
Well, Gerald Bayless is one of those guys that can do so many things. Rush the passer, defend against the run. Number 98, he got over there and made a big stop.
Mike Clemens was hurt on the play. He got up limping and now indicates to the bench that he wants to be replaced. This would be a big blow if he's out for any length of time.
Yeah, because Denny Meyer wants to run the football more often. That's their best opportunity to run the football is with the pinball. They may have to go with 2 fullbacks in the lineup or the Rocket. I'm sure he'll probably start out electing to go with Kevin Smelly as the running back and Nastasiak staying in at fullback, but both of them are basically fullbacks.
2 years ago, the pinball established a CFL record for all-purpose yards, 3,300 yards, and being named the outstanding player in the Canadian Football League. Last year, much of his workload on special teams was taken over by the Rocket, but he still managed to accumulate a fair number of all-purpose yards.
You know, it's a sprint draw play. Dan Ferroni leading the play, but Bayless beat the nose. He beat the center and came over and made the hit. Pinball looked like he landed with that knee twisting. That's what he's doing. He's favoring that knee. He had some knee problems last year.
J.P. Escuerdo comes into the ball game, replacing the pinball. Second and 8. Jurison pressuring Foggy. Incomplete. He was looking for Eddie Brown. And that is the final play of the opening quarter, with Saskatchewan leading by 7.
Would be a huge loss for the Argonauts in this game at Taylor Field today if Mike Clemens could not return, but they say the news is good. They've checked him over and declared his left ankle is only slightly sprained. They don't even intend to re-tape it. They're going to watch him, but he says he's going back in next series, Don.
Well, the pinball, as we have seen in the past, is a competitor, and I look for him to be back in the ball game. Excellent kick by Olisic. Delgarda goes back to the 43-yard line. He gets an opening along the sidelines, and can he go all the way? No, he's tripped up by Bruce Dixon at the 31. He cut back into the middle, and Bruce Dixon was able to get a hand up, preventing him from going all the way. He did run it back 36 yards after a 58-yard punt by Olisic.
That's the problem when you kick the ball so deep. 58-yard kick is great, but his coverage wasn't down there. And this guy is one of Don Matthews' favorites. He's showing why. He's got great speed.
Again, excellent field position for Kent Austin. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 32 of the Argos. He gives it to Lucius Floyd, and Floyd will pick up about 4 yards. Rodney Harding from behind was able to bring down Lucius Floyd, limiting his advance to about 4 yards. Statistically, it was all Saskatchewan in the opening quarter. Look at the net yards for the Argos. Only 9 yards.
There's a couple donuts up there.
A few too many donuts as far as Dennis Meyer is concerned.
He said he wanted things basic, but that's a little too basic.
Narcisse is able to hang on. He performed a juggling routine before he hauled it in, and now he struts his stuff. His 6th catch of the day.
That's a funny celebration, isn't it? He had to catch this one on a rebound. That ball hit him, and those glass-cluttered gloves bounced up in the air, and then he made a 2nd catch. Almost a 3rd.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan. The ball is at the 17. Saskatchewan leads 8-1. Narcisse again. He'll score. I said early that it looked as though Kent Austin was going to involve Donald Narcisse in a major way in the Saskatchewan passing attack. That's the 7th catch that Narcisse has made.
Now Narcisse is taking advantage of those slot back success last week. Kent Austin called a hide pattern, and Narcisse just came right under his slot back. And that defense was cleared out, and they just couldn't come up and make the tackle. And Narcisse did a good job of running after the catch. And you hear that said time and time again. That's what a great receiver does.
David Ridgway adds the point after, and Saskatchewan now enjoys a 15-1 lead. Total domination so far by the Roughriders, and Donald Narcisse has been on the receiving end of 7 throws, and he has picked up 85 yards and a touchdown. Last week, slot back Jeff Fairholm was the key target of quarterback Kent Austin. This week, it's Donald Narcisse.
I think you'll see that all game unless the Argos make some adjustments, because they are so concerned about the slot backs. They're playing way off. That gives the outside receiver a chance to come underneath that slot back's deep route.
Well, Don Matthews was saying that they had some different formations and some different passing patterns to throw at the Argos today, and obviously they're working.
Well, he said something that we repeat time and again about how Kent Austin is like a coach. He studies the game films, comes in with good suggestions.
The Rocket on the kickoff return. He spins his way, but can't get to the outside. Bruce Boyko doing an excellent job on special team coverage for Saskatchewan. Once again is in there to make the tackle.
Well, Ricky Foggy comes in without having any substantial yardage. What he's going to have to do in this ball game is show some mobility. You know, the old coaching book says if you can get outside, then get outside. If you can't, then use the sprint draw, because that means the ends are playing you so wide the running game is open. Let's see what Ricky says.
Foggy is most effective, of course, when he runs with the football. So far today, he has not attempted to take off. A couple of times he may have had some ideas, but Bobby Jurison is there to make sure he didn't run. Now Foggy's in a whole bunch of trouble. He throws down the sidelines, and is it intercepted? No. They rule that Ty Jones was out of bounds. Dennis Meyer indicated, Joe, that he might make a quarterbacking change if Foggy was unable to move the Argos. Foggy so far has been unable to move the Argos. Will Blair Keel or John Kangemi take over?
Yeah, he told us yesterday that if Foggy struggles, we wouldn't hesitate to put Keel or Kangemi in the ballgame.
Foggy was very close to being out of bounds when he threw the football. And Jones, according to the officials, was out of bounds when he made the interception. Second and 10. Here comes Heat again. Foggy throws to the sidelines. Penalty flag in the play. Eddie Brown was being covered by Stacey Hairston. Holding is the call against Toronto.
Well, last week Saskatchewan showed blitz, and sometimes they would just drop into a zone. Today, when they're showing blitz,
Toronto number 56.
They're doing this. They're blitzing. They're bringing the inside backers, and Jurison is working the outside, trying to keep Foggy from getting out around him, and it's worked.
Holding call against center Ian Beckstead.
I think it's because Ian had to block 2 guys. He had to block Jones and Bayless. I guess you're allowed to hold if you have to block 2 guys.
The Argos will count on Hank Olisic to kick them out of trouble again. Big high kick by Olisic. Seemed to go off the side of his foot. It goes out of bounds. No opportunity for a return. They'll spot the ball at the Saskatchewan 36, and that's where the Riders will be 1st and 10 when we return. The Ottawa Roughriders attempting to keep pace with Hamilton in the East lead Calgary 3-0 in the first quarter on a Terry Baker field goal. Saskatchewan leading 15-1. Kent Austin 1st and 10 from his own 36. He leads the CFL in passing attempts 543, completions 334, yards 4,377. He was looking for Milson Jones on a screen. It's incomplete.
Rodney Hardy wouldn't let Milson Jones out on the screen pass. He became a pass defender on that one, so he smelled screen right away. This guy's playing some great football. Oklahoma State. Now, he came in after Dexter Manley graduated. He was a defensive lineman right after Dexter Manley left for the NFL.
2nd and 10 from the shotgun formation. Brown makes the catch, and this will be very close to a first down. Reggie Pleasant, who was trying to cover Brown, slipped and fell. And it is another Saskatchewan first down.
I think he was on the slip side of that turf. He really tried to dig in and come up and make the hit, but he just slipped. His feet went right out from under him. He's lucky he was able to recover. Had that ball been thrown a little bit lower, that could have been a touchdown because Pleasant would have never had the chance to recover.
Well, we said it looked like a first down. Let's see if the measurement will confirm that the Riders do indeed have a first down, and they do.
You got great eyes, Don.
I can see a lot of things out there. Some of the things I probably shouldn't see. Checking the statistics and comparing the two teams, the Argos ranked 6th in their average gain per pass. Saskatchewan is 1st in 4 offensive categories, and the Argos are last or near the bottom of the league.
All carriers 32.
Nelson Jones will pick up a couple of yards with 10:57 remaining in the half. 15-1 Saskatchewan leads, totally dominating play to this extent.
And Don Matthews wants to get the running game going. Here they're trying to double on Harding, but he's saying, you're not going to go very far. They got a 2-yard gain. He's worried about the wind in the prairies in the autumn. He wants to get his running game going, but it doesn't look very good so far.
From the shotgun, ball is deflected into the hands of Lucius Floyd, and then Floyd is driven back. There's also a penalty flag on the play. It will be holding against Saskatchewan. Floyd was stopped short of the
62.
first down marker regardless.
Right here.
Stevenson.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 62. Decline. 3rd down.
Yeah, Vic was just trying to protect his quarterback. He said, I'm not going to let him get in there and get a good hit on my QB. I'm going to hold. Don Matthews said, well, we're going to have to punt then.
Don Matthews still feels that the Saskatchewan Roughriders can finish in 1st place in the West. And with 2 games against Calgary and another game against Edmonton, I suppose to some extent they are masters of their own destiny. Brown takes the ball at the 25-yard line. He's going to lose yardage unless he gets a block. And that block does not develop. He is down back at the 18. A 38-yard kick and a loss of 6 on the return. Scott?
Well, Don, we were at Taylor Field on August 29th when the Riders hosted BC, and rush end Bobby Jurison went in to play receiver on short yardage for Saskatchewan. For his trouble, he took a major league hit from Brian Smith and had 2 ribs cracked. It's only been a month since this happened, but Jurison, believe it or not, is healed a whole lot faster than expected. They thought he could be out as long as 6 to 8 weeks. In fact, he was eager to play last week in Toronto. They kept him out of that one, tested him on live rushes this week, or hitting drills in practice, declared him fit. And with him in the lineup, Don, the Riders' defense is truly a pressure defense.
Number 5.
Yes, it is a pressure defense, and Coach Don Matthews was telling us yesterday, Joe, that if he would have attempted to keep Jurison out of the lineup this week, he might have had to fight him.
And he said he didn't want to fight him, and I don't blame him.
No.
This guy lost 32 pounds so that he could play the rush side. I don't know if it's worth it. I mean, that's not such a big deal, 32 pounds just to play the other side of the line.
He has been very effective this year, however, as a rush end, and his job today is to contain Ricky Foggy, and we have seen a couple of plays where it appeared as though he had the opportunity to make a tackle and yet stood his ground in anticipation that perhaps Foggy was going to try and sprint to the outside. There was movement at the line of scrimmage, a penalty flag. Gary Lewis was the first man through. And it appears to be an offside call against Saskatchewan.
False start. 79.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 79. 2nd down repeated.
You got to wait till the ball snapped, Gary.
Gary claims that he saw some movement on the part of the Toronto offensive line, but the replay certainly doesn't confirm it.
I don't think so, Gary.
8:52 remaining in the half. Kevin Smelly trying to get the first down of the game, but he's stopped for a loss of about a yard. Gary Lewis atones for the earlier mistake by bringing down Kevin Smelly for a loss of a yard.
That shows how fired up a football team is. Last week we saw the Argos hold Saskatchewan on the 1-yard line, a big goal line stand. That really pumps up a defense. Gary Lewis breaks across. This is just a deliberate play to Smelly, but Lewis never let him get a good start. He said, there, I know I got us in trouble. I'm going to try to get us out of trouble.
Gary Lewis came into the CFL with the Ottawa Roughriders in 1985. He was signed by Saskatchewan as a free agent, and he has performed well for the Green Riders.
Well, they've got Lewis and Bayless and Banks and Jurison, and then you got a guy like Ty Jones, and you got Dan Rasevich. That's a good front seven.
The Argos are gambling on 3rd and a yard. Foggy will keep, he'll get it. He got out across the 30-yard line. And that's the initial first down of the game for the Argos. It comes with 8:26 remaining in the second quarter.
You got to have a good defense if you're going to start out by not making a first down for 1 quarter and 1/2. And they have a good defense because of a group that Dennis Myers put together. Now, he said he wanted to keep things basic and get first down, so he's not going to be very happy with the way things have gone in this quarter and 1/2.
Yes, he was saying that he wanted Foggy to do the things that the Argos do well. So far this afternoon, they haven't been able to do much well against the Saskatchewan defense. The pinball is back in the lineup. He takes the little swing pass for a first down up to the 45, but there was a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage. Dave Ewell is the referee this afternoon. Let's wait for his interpretation. Offside against Saskatchewan, so the play will stand.
Brought down by Gerald Bayless.
Well, those little dump passes for only about 5 yards.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 4. Declined. First down.
And they get big results. Albert Brown lined up offsides, and he's a cornerback. I know what Matthews is saying. Hey, defensive back shouldn't be lined up offsides.
Defensively, Saskatchewan this year has given up 139 fewer points than they did at the same time a year ago. Foggy has time. He completes it to Brown, and Brown has a first down to the 43, tackled there by the middle linebacker, Dan Rasevich.
Well, give Schultz, Ferroni, Beckstead, Skimp, and Schmidt all kinds of credit, because Foggy, he had time to order lunch back there.
Well, it took a while to get the first down of the game, but now they put together 3 in a row, a 27-yard gain from Foggy to Brown.
Now, when you have to contain a quarterback, sometimes you don't get a great pass rush. I'm surprised that they're worried about contain. Foggy hasn't rolled out yet.
Kevin Smelly can't go anywhere. He is stopped by Gerald Bayless with help from Tyrone Jones, a loss of about 4 yards. We talked about the difficulties that Saskatchewan has had with their ground game. Toronto hasn't been much better. They are second last. They only have 98 yards per game on average rushing.
And you're not going to get many yards against a quick line like Gerald Bayless, Gary Lewis. You better run a quick hitter. I think those delayed draws, you can shelf those.
Foggy's pass complete to Williams. This will be a first down, Toronto.
Is that a lateral?
Lateral, or he fumbled the football.
Denny Myers got it figured out, but we don't. That couldn't be a design play. Would they be that tricky? Well, that was a good job by Foggy rolling out, I'll say that, and delivering the football on the run. That's what he does best.
Indeed, he does. Once this year, the Argos have had a player run for better than 100 yards. That was Ricky Foggy. The toss to the Rocket, and the Rocket tries to get outside.
Ball carriers 25.
The initial contact was made by Banks, and then Rasevich came over to finish the job.
Yeah, Banks wouldn't let him have that corner. Did a good job of coming up. And you got to know that Dan Rasevich, he's going to, when he sees the Rocket line up at I-back, he's going to keep his eye on it.
The Argos have run the football 8 times today, and their net gain 3 yards.
Well, it helps.
Not Hall of Fame statistics.
It helps their pass protection, though.
On this drive, they have moved 61 yards in 7 plays. Pass inside to Nastasiuk. This is another Toronto first down. Glenn Suter, the safety, made the tackle, 27 on 27.
See Foggy looking over to Kanjemi. Oh, you know what that is.
Can you interpret?
Yeah, 27, 49, 84, Z-fly, Y post.
I'm holding you to that.
Do I know what it is? Yeah, he's hitting his arm.
Got a sore elbow.
Yeah.
1st and 10, Toronto. The ball is at the 12-yard line. Foggy throws to the sidelines, intended for Williams, incomplete. 4:23 is the time remaining in the half. 15-1, Saskatchewan leads. The Ottawa Roughriders have moved in front of Calgary 6-0. Terry Baker with 2 field goals in the first quarter at McMahon Stadium. Ottawa attempting to keep pace in the East with the Hamilton Ticats, who defeated BC 34-20 last night to move 2 points ahead of Ottawa. The Argos under the direction of Ricky Foggy looking at 2nd and 10, and they haven't given up hopes of still finishing first. Foggy is in trouble. He throws. It's high. It's intercepted by Anthony. It was deflected by Brown. Anthony's still on his feet. Loses the football. Who's got it? I think Saskatchewan managed to get it back. Well, Foggy was under pressure, and Joe, as a coach, I'm sure you don't like seeing your quarterback throw in that situation. 3:54 is the time remaining in the half. It looked as though Toronto was going to cut the deficit in half with a pretty good drive that had consumed better than 6 minutes, but Foggy threw a football that he should not have released.
Well, there's no question about that. That ball was tipped, but that was a tremendous effort by Brown just to tip it.
Austin sideline pattern for Fairholm. He takes it out of bounds in front of Graisley for a first down.
Charles Anthony took a big hit on that interception, and it was, guess who? David Williams, a wide receiver, came in and really let Charles Anthony have that in the back. Made him cough the ball up. As Charles Anthony makes his break here, watch the blur come into the picture. Right there is David Williams.
Back to the live action. Lucius Floyd, the ball carrier. There's a penalty flag on the play. Floyd got to the line of scrimmage and not much further. Mike Campbell was one of those who made contact with him. You know, that was a pretty good trade that the Toronto Argonauts made a couple of years ago with the Calgary Stampeders. Harold Hallman for Doug Landry and a draft choice. The draft choice proved to be Mike Campbell.
Toronto number 37. First down repeated.
The offside call against Keith Costello takes the ball up close to the 45-yard line.
Yeah, I'd like to have a Mike Campbell on my team. That guy has done a great job. In spite of his injuries this year, he's got a hip flexor that he's had problems with, but he's been playing tough, and as the Saskatchewan Roughriders have.
1st and 5. This one is deflected. Mark Waterman, the safety, can't quite get there. It was intended for Elgard.
You know, both teams have been playing with injuries. When you look at Saskatchewan's lineup, they've got a lot of guys who have been bumped and bruised all year. Fortunately for them, this hasn't been one of them. Kent Austin is he's the glue that holds that offense together.
The 3rd consecutive year that he has passed for better than 4,000 yards. Only 2 other quarterbacks have 3 career 4,000-plus passing seasons. Only 1 other did it in consecutive years. That was Dieter Brock with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Nelson Jones on the draw play will be close to a first down, getting up to about the 49 with 2:45 remaining in the half. As I mentioned, only Dieter Brock and Kent Austin have had 3 consecutive 4,000-plus passing yardage seasons. Tom Clements did it 3 times, but not in consecutive years. Twice with Hamilton and once with Winnipeg in 1987. The 3rd down gamble should produce a first down as Austin drives straight ahead to the 50-yard line. 2:35 remains in the half. Toronto quarterback Ricky Foggy looks on. And if there is one pass he would like to have back, it's the last one he threw.
Well, Foggy's the only Toronto Argo that's ever led the team in both passing and rushing.
1st and 10, Saskatchewan at the 50.
And interceptions.
Austin for Milson Jones. He gets away from Benson. And he drives to the 41. Stop there by Costello.
Now, Kent Austin uses so many weapons. He knows he's got Milson Jones uncovered. Now, he could have audibled to a quarterback sneak had he wanted to. He saw Milson Jones uncovered, so he went to the pass.
1st and 10. The ball is at the Toronto 41. 2:03 remaining in the first half here at Taylor Field. Austin is going to throw down the sidelines, knocked down by Donald Wilson. Actually, I think Reggie Brown may have had a hand in knocking it down when it looked as though Wilson was going to make an interception.
Yeah, you got to go right away to defense when you know your defensive back is up there trying to get the football. He actually broke up the pass, so that was a good job by a receiver. Donald Wilson had a lot to make up for last week. He was very upset. Coach said he was the last guy out of the locker room, told him that he wouldn't have another game like he had last week.
This is a milestone game for Donald Wilson, the 100th of his career. Reggie Pleasant is also playing his 100th game today. Lucius Floyd takes the swing pass. Rodney Harding did a good job of getting over there quickly to cover.
When you see a defensive lineman make tackles like that on a swing pass, you know he's hustling. This is tremendous hustle by a big man. You get a 275-pounder to the other hash mark making a tackle, he's doing something.
Scott referred to the difficulties on occasion with getting good footing on this turf. Look at Floyd as he attempts to cut back. He plants and slips.
And he got buried.
Brent Mattich with a 3rd down punt to the Rocket at the 5. The penalty flag in the play. And the Rocket is down at the 17. 1:27 is the time remaining in the half.
Lucky numbers, and I'm ready to play.
The Roughriders lead by a score of 15-1. Penalty flags on the play, and no yards call will bring the football up to the 25-yard line. The fans at Taylor Field don't particularly appreciate that call, but the Toronto Argonauts, with 1:17 remaining in the half, have it 1st and 10 at the 25. Penalty flags fly again.
1, 2, 3 flags. 4.
Well, Chris Schultz jumped a little bit ahead of time, and you wonder why. Well, the booing echoes in that helmet. He doesn't know if that's Foggy or it's the fans or who.
The procedure call is against Chris Schultz, as Dave Ewell explains it to Ty Jones. Let's join Scott.
Don, coming up on Live at the Half, we'll keep you current as we check highlights of Hamilton's win last night, Edmonton's the night before. There's a controversy in Winnipeg. Larry Willis in the center of it. That'll be our lead story on Coast to Coast. And Ray Elgard is the top receiver in the CFL with the numbers to prove it. A throwback to the good old-fashioned straight-ahead player, and he will join us on Live at the Half.
The way Ray Elgard is performing, sometime in 1994, he could become the all-time pass reception yardage leader in the CFL, moving ahead of Brian Kelly. Foggy's in trouble. It almost looked as though he threw that ball away in the grasp of Gary Lewis. Lewis is claiming that he should be getting a quarterback sack at that point, and it appears as though the whistle may have gone just as Foggy threw the football.
Yeah, Gary Lewis did a good job of coming in, and then the whistle blew as Lewis wrapped him up, and then Foggy tried to dipsy-doodle throw the ball behind him. That's not a very good pass behind you. You don't know who's there.
Foggy steps up, throws over the middle, and Andrew Murray is wide open, and he's going to go all the way. Or will he? Stacey Harrison is trying to catch him, but he can't. Andrew Murray wide open, and there's a penalty flag as well. 98 yards, Ricky Foggy to Andrew Murray.
Eddie Brown was the lead blocker on that, and Stacey Harrison, Eddie Brown collided, and there was a flag down. Was it on Eddie Brown?
It appears as though it was.
Dennis Meyer can't believe it. Eddie Brown just had the ankle. All he had to do was keep running.
That wipes out the touchdown and puts Toronto at the 19 of Saskatchewan with 44 seconds remaining in the half.
That was a great throw by Foggy. I think the last play he was shaken up a little bit. This time he released the ball perfectly and got it out to Andrew Murray.
So the Andrew Murray apparent 98-yard touchdown is wiped out. It is 1st and 10. Foggy throws for Masadi. Touchdown! Foggy took a hit from Gary Lewis just as he threw, and Foggy is hurt.
Yeah, Gary Lewis came in right from his defensive line position. Foggy wasn't even looking that direction.
But you give Foggy a lot of credit. He stood there. He took the hit as he threw, and he laid it on the money to Paul Masadi. So back-to-back throws to the two Canadian slot backs, Andrew Murray and Paul Masadi, produce a Toronto touchdown.
Here's an example of what kind of an athlete Foggy is. You saw him get sacked 2 plays before this by Gary Lewis. This time he took the hit and got the ball out, and it was a great catch by Masadi. Don't ever underestimate Ricky Foggy's athletic ability. That's what keeps him in the lineup. He's got the great running ability, and he's got a good arm. He just needs to temper it on occasion.
Well, at the University of Minnesota, as Lance Chomick adds the point after, he was an outstanding runner and passer, and he has the great athletic ability you referred to.
One of the criticisms is he's a long ball thrower. You know, he won't have the patience to throw short. Well, if Dennis Meyer's calling the plays, that means that they should throw short.
An offside call against Saskatchewan on the extra point will be applied to the kickoff with 38 seconds remaining in the half. 15-8. Saskatchewan leads, but the 2 big throws from Ricky Foggy, first of all to Carleton product Andrew Murray, and then to Acadia slot back Paul Masadi, produces a Toronto touchdown.
Well, a good defensive effort out of the Argos kept them in the ball game, and now some just great athletic performance here gets them back into the game. And Denny Meyer's got to feel good. You know, when you play bad and you're still in the ball game, the second half can be a lot different.
And as a coach, Joe, I'm sure it's a lot easier going to the dressing room after you've just had a couple of very successful plays, particularly when you move 98 yards for the touchdown, as the Argos just did.
Yeah, I think the touchdown was important because they had the penalty. Eddie Brown got the penalty, so that would have really been a bad situation to settle for a field goal.
Delgado and Brown can't decide who is going to play the ball. Delgado has it. And he is hauled down by Paul Masadi at the 19-yard line. A 65-yard kickoff and a 14-yard return, and Brown and Delgado discuss the kickoff as they head to the bench, and they want to get that problem sorted out in a hurry.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Kent Austin does in this situation. He's got 31 seconds. Now, if they want to get the running game going, this may be a time to do it.
The Argos don't have a great deal of respect for Saskatchewan's running game. For most of the first half, they've been playing with 6 defensive backs. Nelson Jones isn't going anywhere. Harold Hallman makes sure of that.
And they better be careful, because if they have to punt, remember the good returners. There's the Rocket and there's Pinball, and both of them can be dangerous.
And they sometimes use Eddie Brown on the punt return team. 26 seconds remaining in the half. A timeout has been called. The Toronto Argonauts calling the timeout, stopping the clock.
They'd like to have at least an opportunity to get a punt return in and maybe a punt rush. Matic has had some trouble punting the football. He's a little bit slow. He's had some punts blocked, so I'm sure Denny Meyer called that timeout just to hope they can get a punt rush.
Dennis Meyer was saying one of the advantages that he finds as a head coach, when he primarily during his career has been in the defensive side of the football, is that when plays are called for quarterback Ricky Foggy, he knows what to look for as a coach.
Yeah, and in the spotter's box, they know exactly where to look. They look at a particular receiver or coverage because of what the play, was called.
And off to Lucius Floyd. Rodney Harding wraps him up quickly. 22 seconds remain in the half.
And further loss on the play.
Now they should be almost able to kill the clock using the 20-second clock for getting a play underway, but they are going to be forced to kick it.
And the punt rush team is in. Don Matthews not very pleased about this situation, having to punt.
Well, it looks as though they've made the decision not to punt. They're leaving the offensive unit out there. I guess they feel they can run it around for the final 2 seconds.
So they'll run it down and then take a sprint out or something.
Austin looking at the 20-second clock and the scoreboard clock, making sure he takes all the time off the clock. Now he runs around, and that will do it. And he goes down at the 8-yard line. So the Argos are successful in killing the clock, taking the final seconds off the clock, preserving their 15-8 advantage.
And of course, the Saskatchewan team has done a great job of defense, but it's still a good ball game. The second half should be a great one.
The Toronto Argonauts with a late touchdown, cutting the deficit in half. 15-8 Saskatchewan leads. Now stand by for Live at the Half.
Yes, folks, no waiting for this week's edition of Live at the Half. Let us begin forthwith, or better yet, how about right away? We want to take a few moments now to talk about the premier receiver in the Canadian Football League. That would be Saskatchewan's Ray Elgard. First man over 1,000 yards in the CFL this season. He used, as always, a combination of speed, skill, and brute strength to do it. All three in evidence on this catch in the first half at Taylor Field. Almost a touchdown, save for a late tackle by the Argonauts. Elgard is the odds-on favorite to win the award as the CFL's top Canadian this year. Here am I waxing on about your season, and you're probably thinking, what's the big deal? I've had seasons like this before.
Well, I've had some good seasons. I haven't had any that have been this productive this early, but yeah, it's been a good year. And while you were waxing there, you forgot finesse.
Finesse. I'm sorry, Ray, that's applicable as well.
Let's clear that up.
You forgive me on that one?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Hey, you've had 10 spectacular seasons here, really, but many would say you haven't got the credit you deserve. Have you ever thought that if you played in a bigger market, you'd be a bigger deal?
No, not at all. I've got plenty of credit for what I've done, and you know, the things that I've done haven't been that glorious anyway. So I'm just a workman-like player, and I'll take whatever accolades come along, and other than that, I'm not too concerned about it.
Let me stress that is no knock on Regina, because you've done very well here. Your comments in the first half of this game?
Well, it's been a pretty tough game so far. You know, both teams are having a little bit of trouble moving the football, but that's credit to the two defenses out there. I think they're two of the best defenses in the league, and so far we got a couple big plays and managed to you know, get up on them by 14, but they got a late touchdown here, so still anybody's game. See what happens in the second half.
Ray, thanks for your time. Congratulations on what so far has been an outstanding season.
Thank you.
So Ray Elgard's Riders lead the Argonauts by a touchdown at halftime. Stay with us, everybody. Live at the Half returns to Taylor Field in Regina in just a moment. You don't get many days like this on the prairies in October. In fact, it was more like fall when we were here in late August. Riders lead at halftime. Back with you now at Taylor Field. We're into week 13 of the CFL schedule. That means it is serious business from here on in, with the playoffs just over a month away. The business serious enough that there are allegations of a scandal in Winnipeg. It's one of the things that's current in the Canadian Football League. This edition of Coast to Coast begins in the center of the CFL in Winnipeg. Receiver Larry Willis played little for the Bombers this year, and last week after a game with Calgary was told to clean out his locker. The allegation is Willis gave playbook information to the Stampeders. He denies the charge. He'll have his day in court next week when the commissioner holds a hearing.
You know, it's a pretty harsh statement to have to deal with, you know, knowing that it's not true, but I mean, what can I do? I can just have to sit and wait till October the 6th and let everything take place then.
In Toronto, Verboten linebacker Jeff Braswell was suspended by the Argos for one game for poking an opposing player in the eye, but he's not on the outs with the team. This week he signed a new one-year contract. In Regina, one of Don Matthews' passions is riding his Harley Davidson, and he put it to good use yesterday as marshal of the Regina Motorcycle Association's Toy Run. 600 bikers from all over the province paraded down Albert Street. All of them bought toys, which were donated to the Salvation Army for distribution at Christmas time. On Friday, the Eskimos were dealing with a hitherto unheard of 3-game losing streak at Commonwealth Stadium. Tracy Ham was back in top form, running at peak efficiency to give Edmonton the lead over Winnipeg in the first quarter. Tom Mickey came on to replace Ham late in the first half, and the Eskimos didn't miss a beat. Mickey hit Craig Ellis to extend the Eskimos' lead to 20 points. But most of the damage was done by Jim Sandusky. He victimized Rod Hill for a couple of touchdown bombs, this one for 68 yards on the first play of the second half. Edmonton won in a walk. And to make matters worse, the Bombers saw Matt Dunnigan leave with yet another injury. His knee was rocked on a hit by Leroy Blue. It seems Dunnigan cannot shake the glass quarterback reputation or the injury bug. He had just returned to the Winnipeg lineup after sitting out 2 games. Eskimos won by 20 to snap their losing streak at Commonwealth Stadium. Last night at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, 13,000 showed up. The Tiger Cats were seeking sole possession of first in the East. They took the lead over the BC Lions on a Damon Allen pass to Wally Zatilny. This an 18-yard touchdown strike, and the Ticats led 10-0. Lions stayed in touch for a while. Danny Barrett's second quarter keeper brought BC to within 3 at 10-7. But Paul Osbaldiston's 4 field goals were the difference on this night. Ticats won by a couple of touchdowns and led by their kicker. Tiger Cats are set to play Saskatchewan next Sunday.
You know, their offense is incredible. Their passing game is just phenomenal. So we're going to have our work cut out for us, but we think we can also move the ball on them. So our defense has been fantastic all year, and there's no reason that they can't come up big against Regina. So it'll be an exciting kind of game there.
And in Calgary this afternoon, Stampeders are trying to move into sole possession of first in the West ahead of Edmonton. Ottawa looking for a share of first in the East with Hamilton. Ottawa leads 9-7 on 3 field goals by Terry Baker. A 69-yard interception return by Matt Finley set up a 1-yard touchdown plunge by Keevan Jenkins for Calgary, and they are late in the first half. Here at Taylor Field in Regina, Saskatchewan and Toronto are engaged in the second half of their home-and-home series, and the Riders are up by a touchdown. Live at the half returns.
That was a really nice two-step.
Taylor Field today, they're taking advantage of this outstanding weather, combining around the clock, trying to get their crop in, and we're lucky to have Don Whitman at today's game. He's supposed to be home combining his crop as well. Don?
Fortunately for some of us, Scott, that chore has been completed. Joe, in the first half, the Toronto Argonauts didn't get their initial first down until late in the second quarter. Then when they finally scored a touchdown, they had to do it twice.
Well, they certainly did, and Ricky Foggy had just been sacked. He's in the shadow of his own goal line, and suddenly he explodes and throws a great pass to Andrew Murray, and Andrew Murray's all the way downfield for a touchdown. It would have been a 98-yard touchdown, except for one thing. Eddie Brown grabbed a little bit of jersey and was called for holding. That consequently set up the touchdown to the ensuing touchdown that was to be thrown to Paul Masadi on the next play.
Eddie Brown was guilty of grabbing Stacey Hairston. I'm not really sure whether Hairston would have been able to cut off the angle on Andrew Murray regardless, but the penalty was called, and on the very next play, it was Foggy to Masadi for the major score.
And Foggy showed a lot of poise. I mean, that's his athletic ability, and he got them back in the football game, so don't go away. I think it's going to be a good half.
15-8, the Saskatchewan Roughriders lead. We'll be back with the second half kickoff right after this.
To purchase a block of tickets and ensure the continuation of exciting Roughrider football.
Toronto Argonauts preparing to kick off to Saskatchewan to start the second half here at Taylor Field. The Riders leading by 7. 15-8 is the score in their favor.
Here we go.
Hank Alisic kicks off to get the second half underway. Delgado takes the ball at the 30-yard line, runs into a big hit at about the 37. Leonard Johnson is the man who made the first contact with him. A 47-yard kickoff, a 9-yard return. Statistically, the Argos' 176 yards came in the last half of the second quarter. They'd been shut out. They had only 9 yards in the first quarter.
Both teams trying to get a rushing game going.
And not having much success. Incomplete. Pass intended for Fairholm. He was being covered by Carl Braisley.
You know, big surprise that Kent Austin has gotten the ball to the wideouts today. Last week it was all slot backs.
And the leading receiver today has been Donald Narcisse. Narcisse this year has had 2 100-yard receiving games. The 2 slot backs, Algard and Fairholm, have both had a 200-yard plus receiving game. Fairholm's, of course, last week against Toronto. Big hit on Reggie Brown. Raisley and Pleasant combined to bring him down short of a first down.
That's Denny Meyer's defensive philosophy. Let them catch the ball in front of you and then make them pay for it. Raisley made him pay for it.
Kent Austin this year has had 8 games in which he has passed for 300+ yards, 4 games in which he has thrown for better than 400 yards. Very impressive statistics for Kent Austin.
Well, you can see his leadership out there. Kent Austin directs those people. He talks to them on the sidelines. He's always working.
Brent Matic stands at his 31-yard line for this third down punt. Donald Wilson came through very quickly, but didn't get there in time. No chance for a return as it bounces out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Scott?
Okay, Dom, well, how about this fashion timeout from field level right now? We present to you Reggie Brown, rookie receiver from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and check out this fancy bit of dental work. This is the mouth of Reggie Brown. You're almost in danger of being blinded when he opens it up. It's all done in gold. He's got a star, a Playboy bunny, and a 4 and a 3 on it. And he's got it done, he says, because that's just what guys in his neighborhood in Miami did. Cost him about $1,200. I'll tell you, he's fiercely proud of it.
Must come from a tough neighborhood.
You don't smile in his neighborhood. Pinball Clemens cuts back against the flow. But there were just too many green jerseys over there, and Brown came up to trip him up, and then Gary Lewis came over to finish the job. You know, when they talk about nicknames, he is most appropriately named the Pinball because he bounces off tackles.
Well, he's got 2 linemen leading the play, but he said, hey, that's not enough. I'm going to come back and back and back. And Gary Lewis said, hey, I'm going to pursue until I finally make the tackle.
The Pinball managed to pick up 6. It's 2nd and 4, Toronto. The Pinball gets the call again. This time he gets to open field, and he runs it out to the 35-yard line for a first down. Tackled there by Glenn Suter, the safety.
I like that guy. You know, he's got so much determination. I love to watch him play because he's one of those guys that you know he's trying every play. He gives you 100%.
That's the key thing about the Pinball. He has intensity, and he plays with determination and drive.
And what a gentleman. You know, he does so much for the Argos off the field.
Foggy on 1st and 10 is flushed out of there. Jurison is in pursuit. Foggy opts to run, and he'll get the first down.
Well, they're starting out the second half a lot different than they started the first half, and that's the key. If Ricky Foggy shows his athletic ability, that ability to get outside the rush, then he's only defended himself against one man. That play, it was Bobby Jurison. Hey, Foggy's going to win most of those.
One other game this afternoon in the CFL. Big touchdown pass to Derek Crawford. A 69-yarder has moved Calgary ahead of Ottawa 16-9. Again, the Rocket has some difficulty with the OmniTurf here at Taylor Field. Slipping as he attempted to make his cut.
Ball carrier is number 5.
Kevin Smelly, the ball carrier, he gets just a couple of yards. He's stopped by Banks.
Yeah, he picked up the first down. Smelly seems to be the guy that's getting the production. When he carries the football, he's averaging about 9 yards a carry. And when he catches the football, he's got 3 touchdowns so far this year.
1st and 10, Toronto.
1st and 10 for the Argos. The ball is at the 46-yard line. David Williams goes wide to the left. The Rocket comes out to the right. The handoff goes to the Pinball. And he slipped as he attempted to cut back.
Yeah, now what they have is sand underneath the blades. The blades are held up not by a rubber carpet like most turf fields. It's held up by sand. And when you dig into that sand, if you're against the grain, you have a tendency to your legs will slip right out from underneath you. You got to wear, as Scott said earlier, you got to wear regular shoes, not turf shoes.
Second and 6. Wide open is the Rocket. He makes the catch down at the 31-yard line. He had Kim McLeod all over him, but managed to pull it in.
Well, Don Matthews told us we got McLeod in there because we don't care what formations they give us. We'll cover whoever is out there. And McLeod is a linebacker. Here he is covering the Rocket. But the Rocket makes a good catch. He goes up for the football, concentrates, and brings it in. Good throw by Foggy. Put it right where he had to.
It looked as though Kim McLeod was beaten quite badly by the Rocket for a moment, but he was able to recover and get back and make the tackle.
He's really a defensive back playing linebacker.
A number of teams have gone that route in this 1992 season. Quick look-in pattern to Eddie Brown. Down to the 5-yard line.
Well, that's been a big play for them. That look-in pattern has really worked for the Argos. Last week we saw Kevin Smelly score with it. This week Foggy just delivers the football to the outside, and he's uncovered, and Suter didn't get a chance to wrap him up, so Charles Anthony had to come over and help out.
They ruled he touched down at the 6. It's 1st and goal, Toronto from the 6-yard line. David Williams goes wide to the left. Eddie Brown, who led the World League of American Football League in receiving, carries it down to the 6, and now Pinball Clemens will try and get to the end zone. He stopped at about the 2. And again, he had some difficulties in attempting to cut back against the flow.
Yeah, he had the defense strung out, and he wanted to make the cut upfield, and much to the chagrin of Denny Meyer, he slipped when he tried to make the cut.
The pinball is going to go to the bench. The Argos will send in their short yardage team. The ball just outside the 1-yard line, but pinball has made a major contribution on this drive by the Toronto Argonauts.
Well, they got the big guys in there now, so you're going to see something up the middle.
Foggy into the end zone for the touchdown. So the Toronto Argonauts, trailing by 14 points late in the second quarter, have fought back. And with the point after upcoming by Lance Chomick, Dennis Meyer's team has a chance to get back on even terms.
You know, one of the things that they did in this play is Foggy just let the center snap the ball. It's what you call a pinch. That center snapped the ball when he knew Foggy was ready. Nobody else moved. The center, Foggy, and the touchdown. The defense never moved.
Point after by Lance Chomick. We have a tie game at Taylor Field in Regina with 8:36 remaining in the third quarter.
15.
96 yards in 9 plays under the direction of Ricky Foggy, and he caps the drive with a 1-yard touchdown dive.
Hey, Andy, Jazz, Little Rick, how you guys doing? Matt Dunnigan, I hope you're all right. Peace.
Matt Dunnigan, a former teammate of Ricky Foggy last year when the Argos won the Grey Cup. Dunnigan injured Friday night in a 45-25 Winnipeg loss to the Edmonton Eskimos. Reggie Brown is tackled on the kickoff return by Keith Costello as he gets to the 31-yard line. That was a 10-yard run back by Reggie Brown. The Argos were first on the board on a 59-yard single by Hank Olisic. Saskatchewan tied it on a missed field goal attempt by David Ridgway. Then Kent Austin put it in the end zone for an 8-1 lead. It was 15-1. Austin 18 yards to Donald Narcisse. Late in the half, a Toronto touchdown pass to Massotti made it a 7-point game, and on the first possession of the third quarter, the Argos have tied it. A 96-yard drive capped by the 1-yard plunge by Ricky Foggy. Donald Narcisse makes the catch on the sidelines. The sideline official rules that he was out of bounds.
Well, the Saskatchewan offense is running their 5-pack, they call it. They got Farthing in the ball game for Milson Jones. So with Narcisse, Fairholm, and of course Reggie Brown, now they got Farthing and Elgard on the other side. That's a good call by the official. He did step out of bounds.
From the shotgun formation, 3 receivers line up wide to the right. Austin throws the screen over the middle, and Harold Hallman did a fine job of breaking that up. There's also a penalty flag in the play. It could be called against Don Moon, but Hallman reacted very well to the screen. He read it perfectly and knocked the pass down. Let's wait for Dave Ewell to explain the penalty call. The roughing the passer call is against Don Moon.
Well, Don Moon is frustrated. He gets in free because it is the screen pass. And Austin did a good job of falling over backwards. He should get an Oscar for that. Looks like a goalie.
He caught the attention of the official, and the penalty gives Saskatchewan a first down at the 46. Lucius Floyd tries to get to the outside. And Mike Campbell came over with Carl Braisley coming up from his inside halfback position. They combined to bring down Lucius Floyd.
Crush Campbell, they call him. He came in and crushed that play.
Well, all three down linemen, Campbell, Hallman, and Harding, came into this game with injuries. And as a result, Len Johnson was dressed as a backup just in case one of them was unable to continue. But so far, all three are playing very well.
The only thing Len Johnson gets to do is run down on kickoffs.
Austin from the shotgun over the middle, and it was deflected twice by the Argos. It was intended for Farthing. Benson got a hand on it. Jonathan Wilson got a hand on it. But they couldn't intercept. So with 6:57 remaining in the third quarter and the score tied at 15, the Argo defensive unit does its job, forcing Saskatchewan into punting formation.
Well, that's the frustration that Kent Austin has. He doesn't get the ball out there because it gets tipped.
Brent Mattich signed as a free agent by the Saskatchewan Roughriders after being cut by the Calgary Stampeders following training camp. Stands at his own 32-yard line. Here comes pressure. Paul Massotti just missed it. The Rocket waits for the kick. And then the Rocket is dragged down at the 24 with 6:32 remaining in the third quarter. Paul Massotti has blocked 3 punts during his career. He came very close to getting a 4th on Brent Mattich.
Well, Bob Poley is the snapper, and he's not very fast. Mattich is not very fast. So watch Massotti come through and nearly get a piece of this ball.
He dove, but Mattich is able to kick it just under his outstretched arm. Sideline pass for the Rocket. Benson Donaldson is able to make the tackle, but not before the Rocket got to the 45-yard line.
Now the Rocket's got to be feeling better about getting involved in this ball game. You can see the young guy jumps up and he feels really good when he does a good job on the play. What he did on this one is he gave a slight move to Vincent Donaldson. As he came out of the back, he gave him that little juke, and now he's downfield. And if that ball had been out a little bit further, he may have gone all the way.
Getting the ball into the hands of the Rocket has been a problem the Argos have encountered this year. That's a 40-yard gain, 1st and 10 from the 45. The pinball has to reverse his field. Now he follows Chris Green up the middle, and he turns what appeared to be a loss of a couple of yards into a gain of about 7.
Well, that was a zigzag and zoom. I mean, he didn't have anything front side, so he tried to come back. And he saw just a little bit of a crack, and he took it right up. I mean, there aren't too many people who could have made any yardage out of this play. He was trying to follow Blaine Schmidt. He couldn't do it. So he cut back to the inside, and you know what Robert Banks is saying? Where did he go?
As you said, a zigzag and a zoom. You figure you got him stopped in the zig, but there's always the zag and the zoom. Nastasiuk tried to get the first down. He's going to be stopped just a little short by Ty Jones. 22,991 watching the action at Taylor Field this afternoon. And wherever you're looking in on the CBC television network, we hope you're enjoying this action between the Roughriders and the Argos. And Dennis Meyer indicated that he wanted the field goal unit to head out. This crowd at Taylor Field was lively during the first quarter, totally dominated by the Riders when Toronto managed just 9 yards in offense. But things have turned around for the Argos.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier, Don. When you have a team playing poorly, as the Argos did offensively, and you're still in the ball game, look out, because the tide can turn, and Foggy has been a big part of turning that tide.
Lance Chomick, who established a record last year with 236 points, will attempt a 44-yard field goal. His parents and his sister came in from Edmonton to watch this game. And they may be in a minority, but in the stands, they undoubtedly are cheering the field goal attempt that has put Toronto ahead for the first time. Next Sunday at Taylor Field, look for an aerial battle. Damon Allen against Kent Austin as Hamilton faces Saskatchewan. You'll see that game beginning at 3 Eastern Time on CBC television. And on Thanksgiving Monday, we have the Winnipeg Blue Bombers going against the Ottawa Roughriders from Lansdowne Park. On their last 3 possessions, the Argos have scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Reggie Brown trying to bring the ball back into good field position. He stopped at the 30. Scott?
Don, you'll generally find on most teams real characters are offensive linemen. Saskatchewan's no different. We're the Hendrickson brothers. Scott and Craig are characters, to be sure. They grew up on a farm near Brandon where apparently they didn't miss any meals because both are about 285 pounds. And are they daring? Well, the Riders found a dead mouse on the field here recently. They dared Scott to bite the head off it, and with all of $5 on the line, he did it. Never mind what I think of it, Don. I'm just reporting the facts.
Yeah, $5 for tension release to create some humor among your teammates. Donald Narcisse on the receiving end of the throw. He tried to run over Reggie Pleasant, who went low on him and brought him down.
Well, there's the guy that's getting the football this game, and last week he was almost silent.
3:59 remaining. Fourth time this year that Donald Narcisse has gone over 100 yards in a game in pass receptions. Narcisse again. Another first down, Saskatchewan.
What they're doing is just pulling those halfbacks. The defensive halfbacks are on the slots, and they're just so concerned with Elgard and Fairholm. That opens everything up for the outside receivers.
Ed Barry was a little slow in getting to his feet, but he's going to remain in the game. Narcisse goes wide right this time. Reggie Brown comes out to the left. Narcisse again, and he's forced out of bounds by Ed Barry, but that's another Saskatchewan first down. What a game Donald Narcisse is having, but Kent Austin took a hit as he delivered, and he's hurt.
Yeah, Len Johnson, the big guy, 6'6", came right in and just got up underneath, and that's the hardest thing to do in football, is to take a hit when you're throwing the ball. Narcisse worked. I mean, he's having a clinic out there showing Ed Barry just exactly what a pass route's supposed to look like. But watch Austin. This is when you're the most vulnerable. You're right in that action of throwing the ball. You can't protect yourself because you have to follow through. Plus, it doesn't help to have a guy 270 pounds land on top of you, because you just can't turn the way you want to turn.
Austin's last 3 passes have gone to Narcisse and have produced 40 yards in gains for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Let's hope that Kent Austin is only winded. He took Len Johnson's helmet right in the midsection.
It's a good, clean tackle. No doubt about that. He didn't go after the head or anything, and Johnson was well within his rights to tackle him. But it could be, hopefully, just the wind knocked out of him.
Austin is up, and that appears to be the case, that he took the helmet right in the midsection as he threw, and he's pointing to that area. So I think we'll see Kent Austin back in the game.
The guy's like a coach. And he's telling the coaches, I'm okay. I just got a little solar plexus shot. Don Matthews feels good about that, to see that guy get back up.
Unfortunately, he has to go out for a minimum 3 plays, so Warren Jones will come into the ball game. One of 3 Jones boys in the lineup of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
This guy from Hawaii, and he can run and throw. He's got good mobility.
Warren's the quarterback, Ty is the linebacker, and Nelson Jones is the fullback. Nice touch to Jeff Fairholm, first down Saskatchewan. So Warren Jones picks up where Kent Austin left off.
That was a well-executed play by Jones. He just came out on the bootleg, put it back into Fairholm.
One of the Hendrickson Brothers is down.
That's Craig. He's not the guy that had a mouse for lunch.
You know, it's interesting. Roger Aldag, who will celebrate his 39th birthday on Tuesday, played with Lefty Hendrickson, or played against Lefty Hendrickson at his first training camp when Lefty played with BC. He's the father of Craig and Scott.
So when he puts his arm around one of those Hendricksons and said, now, this is what I used to do to your dad, they pay attention, right?
You want tricks? I do that balance.
I wonder what Bob Foley did. He must have been around that vintage, huh?
He's been around for a while. I think he joined the Roughriders 2 years after Roger Aldag.
I mean, that's, you got some solid veterans when you got Roger Aldag and Bob Foley on your lineup. They have seen a few CFL football games.
So Craig Hendrickson is being treated, and Bob Foley will come into the ball game as his replacement. We'll be back right after this. Jones won't get a chance to throw. Mike Campbell buries him back at the 32-yard line.
Warren Jones got out to the outside, and he was pulled up. And when he stopped, he was going to try to make some sort of a play out of it. He got crushed by the crush. That's called a landslide, a human slide.
Looked as though his feet got tangled up a little, Joe, and then as he attempted to make a cut, he slipped. And
well, you have to
crush was there.
You have to plant to throw, you know, and he's trying to plant, and the crush crushed him.
Mike Campbell is getting a little more attention from offensive linemen this year than he did a year ago. Milson Jones takes the pass. Waterman trying to hang on to his jersey, but Jones gets to the end zone. So it's Jones to Jones for a Saskatchewan touchdown. Quarterback Warren throwing to fullback Milson.
And what makes that play go so well, Milson Jones caught the Argos in what you call a green dog. They blitz and engage. So Warren Jones knew that linebacker, Keith Costello, would be coming, and that Jones would just chip off of him. He'd hit him, then slip off to the side, and it worked perfectly.
David Ridgway adds the point after, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders have regained the lead, 22-18, with 1:33 remaining. And Warren Jones should smile after his performance on this touchdown drive.
Okay, the linebacker has to come upfield, and if he sees that back block, then he stays with him. But Milson Jones blocked, and then he slipped out here, and he gets the football. That's what crossed them up. It's just a matter of playing chess. Milson just slipped past him. Off he is.
Keith Costello thought, I've got a clear shot at the quarterback, and then he got into that area where he probably thought, uh-oh.
Yeah, he got into that yeah but area. Yeah, but I thought he was blocking. So they took advantage of a young linebacker, and what has to please the Roughriders is their ability to do it with Jones in there. I mean, he's a young quarterback that hasn't had that many chances to play this year. That's his first touchdown pass.
They barely missed a beat with Warren Jones taking over for the injured Kent Austin, but Kent Austin is going to be back in the ball game. The Rocket takes the ball at the 7-yard line. He cuts back into the middle, now to the outside. And he's forced out of bounds by Stacey Hairston, who did a good job of holding the Rocket up. And last week, you'll recall, Hairston was charged with the hit on the Rocket that resulted in a concussion. They came out of bounds, and had Hairston not held the Rocket up, he might have had some difficulties running into the Saskatchewan bench.
Yeah, that was nice to see, because what Hairston said at that time is that I know you're going to run into this bench if I don't hold you up. The Rocket makes a great move here, but I think Hairston showed his sportsmanship, because the Rocket is out of bounds, and Hairston said, "Oh, come back here, son, don't fall over the bench." That kind of made up for last week, I think.
From the 50-yard line, 1st and 10. 1:09 remaining in the third quarter. Saskatchewan leading 22-18. Swing pass to the Rocket. One-on-one, and he can't get away from Charles Anthony.
Good, solid open field tackle by Charles Anthony. He knew what he had to do. He had to stay up on him, make sure you get up high and lasso him.
Loss of 3 at 2nd and 13.
Don't try to put a big hard hit on somebody with that kind of speed or you'll miss him.
To the ticket office following the game, Mr. Gary Cooper. To the ticket office following
Every defensive back in that situation breathes a sigh of relief, I'm sure, when he makes a tackle in the Rocket. You don't like to be one-on-one.
No, they don't want to do that.
Second and 19. Intended for David Williams, knocked away by Albert Brown.
David Williams incomplete.
Well, Foggy knew the blitz was on, but his offensive line did a good job. They picked it up, and he was just waiting for somebody to get open. The bump and run was on all of his receivers. David Williams looked like the only chance, but he underthrew him a little bit, and he gave him a lead with that football. Williams could have caught it.
Albert Brown missed a couple of games earlier this year as the result of injury, but he is one of the better corners in the league. He and Benson Donaldson occupy the corners for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Ankylosing punt.
Delgado takes the ball at the 24-yard line. Delgado with a good bit of acceleration, but he ran into a couple of Argos up at the 40-yard line on the final play of the third quarter. A 13-yard return after a 39-yard kick.
Say, join the fun of the first annual Roughriders.
Another National Hockey League season gets underway on Tuesday of this week. 2 new teams this year in the NHL, and you'll see one of them on Thursday night when the Ottawa Senators entertain the Montreal Canadiens. Of course, the other new team, the Tampa Bay Lightning. This year, the NHL schedule expanded to 84 games. Pass intended over the middle for Lucius Floyd. It goes incomplete.
Well, it's like playing chess out there. You know, you talked about the battle of the first downs. Saskatchewan has the most first downs, and the Argos have given up the least.
Ricky Foggy has improved his statistics from what appeared to be a disaster after the first quarter. Kent Austin looking for the 9th time this season to pass for better than 300 yards. Penalty flag as Harold Hallman came across the line of scrimmage. Now the question, was there procedure or was he offside?
Hallman said they were. They moved. Of course, they always say that.
The officials didn't see it that way, and Hallman is called for being offside.
Well, it looks like Austin may have done it. You know, a little flip of that shoulder, a little bit of a bark. Those defensive linemen are supposed to go when the ball is snapped.
Argonauts.
Shouldn't the guy playing directly opposite the football be watching the football?
That's what you'd think, but you know, they're so close to that quarterback, they can hear him barking the signals. They get very anxious.
And sometimes a slight change in cadence, and that'll draw you offside. Over the middle for Milson Jones. Can Waterman catch him? Down to the 1-yard line. It's Carl Braisley who finally catches up with Milson Jones. Mark Waterman got just a piece of him, and Carl Braisley finished the job. A 64-yard Kent Austin to Milson Jones pass. The Riders are first and goal at the 1.
Well, Milson Jones did the same play, executed that same play that we saw earlier versus a linebacker assignment. He just took off inside. He took off in the middle. They weren't able to pick him up, and it looked like just a foot race.
So when we return, the Roughriders will be first and goal from the 1-yard line. Milson Jones was chosen the Canadian MVP of the 1987 Grey Cup game. As far as Rider fans are concerned, he's the MVP of this game. He has already scored 1 touchdown, Joe, and he was deprived of adding a second. Carl Braisley got just enough of him to bring him down at the 1. And from the 1, the Riders try and put it in the end zone. Quarterback Kent Austin appears to have been stopped short of the goal line. No signal, and they'll try again from the 1.
You know, the offensive line, they very seldom get any credit. And they have no statistic that tells an offensive lineman if he's done his job, other than grading the films. Most of them take great pride in how they do in short yardage situations and, of course, protecting the quarterback against sacks.
Second and goal. Austin keeps. He's got a touchdown. That's the second touchdown of the day for Kent Austin.
Now, this is one of the tougher places to play. Don Matthews is happy with his home record. They're 5-1 at home. He's not very happy with their road record. They were 1-5 on the road.
The Argos aren't very happy with their road record either. They're 0-6.
That's worse than 1-5.
Glenn Suter will hold. David Ridgway will attempt the point after. And with 13:11 remaining in the game, it's now 29-18, Saskatchewan leading Toronto.
Sam left right now for the draw. So I wanted to give the exact same look. But I told Millie, I said, break across his face. I'll draw him up with the draw and stick you. We got him.
Well, you heard Ken Austin. What he did is he faked the draw to Milson Jones. The linebacker assigned to Jones, because it was a draw fake, went off of him. And then he threw the football and he was wide open. So they've caught them twice now. The Argos have been caught twice, man-to-man coverage. Kent Austin has played it like he just played it just exactly like he drew it up.
Sounds pretty simple the way Kent Austin explained it. Inside the 25-yard line, the Riders are a perfect 4 for 4 this afternoon. That's the benefit, I suppose, Joe, of having the quarterback so much involved in drawing up a game plan.
Well, you see two different contrasting philosophies here. You know, Denny Meyer would rather call the plays because the coaches are the guys that are supposed to think. But if you got a guy like Austin, you got to use him.
The Rocket runs out of room in the sidelines, forced out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Scott?
Well, Don, they checked over Milson Jones in the Saskatchewan bench and declared when he was tackled by Carl Brazeley that he had his bell rung. And basically the problem is he's a bit groggy. He's got something of a stiff neck. He may or may not be back in this game today, but even if he isn't, he's already done a fair day's work.
And a career high this afternoon, 114 yards, surpassing his previous best day in a Rider uniform of 105 yards in 1990.
When your fullback makes 113 yards receiving, that's a great job.
Get a hold of Neil Payne.
Aren't fullbacks supposed to block?
In most offensive schemes, the fullbacks are primarily a blocking back. I think we have an injured official. That's the reason for the delay.
They're getting a hold of Neil Payne.
I think it's just a cramp.
Ken Pickett is the injured official.
Looks like they're working on his calf. You know, it's not a cold day whatsoever. It's a nice warm day out in the sunshine. Probably got a little bit of a cramp. You know what you got to do? You got to get potassium in your body, and you know what you get that from?
Is there another one that can come down?
You got to eat bananas.
Okay, Neil, what do you want here? Side judge him? Side judge.
Coaches always put those out at the training table, but we saw those officials eating this morning. They had no bananas on their table.
Gord Johnson is the game supervisor this afternoon. And Bernie Prosco, who is the field judge, was speaking, I'm sure, to Gord upstairs in the press box. Ken Pico is the umpire. And hopefully he will be able to continue. Taking a look at some of the collegiate action this weekend, Toronto beat Laurier. Western knocked off York 28-15. Waterloo over McMaster. Guelph over Windsor. Battle between Mount Allison and Acadia decided by 3 points. St. Mary's had little difficulty with SFX. Bishops defeated Concordia rather handily. Queens squeaked past McGill by 4 points. And Alberta and Manitoba played to a 16-16 tie.
Where's UBC? They must have played Friday. So Tuffy Knight's hanging in there?
Yes, indeed. I think that sign said it all. Terror Field rather than Taylor Field. Ivor wins stadium, never win stadium. A reverse with Eddie Brown. He loses the football. Jurison's got it. Can he get to the end zone? He's going to try, but he won't make it all the way. Put down his head and took on Andrew Murray, but Murray was able to make the tackle.
And those teammates better realize that Jurison has broken ribs. They got to take it easy on the guy.
He's all smiles now, however, but he was looking to get to the end zone. He was waiting for some blocking help to set up in front of him after he scooped up the loose football.
Well, an ill-advised lateral. Eddie Brown was nowhere near. Rocket threw that thing back on his hip. You can't catch the ball when it's behind you, and Eddie Brown's having a terrible time. But watch Jurison. He knows what to do with it. Take a couple forward rolls, good agility. Bob to the left. Look at him go. He tried to run him over.
Give Andrew Murray some credit for going down low on Bobby Jurison to prevent him from getting to the end zone.
I guess that's the only place to tackle Jurison.
Jurison was probably thinking, I can hit this guy and drive him right back into the end zone and maybe score, but Murray stopped him at the 4. 1st and goal. End zone toss for Elgard. Touchdown. You know, Ray Elgard has been playing for the past 7 games with an elbow split open as the result of a bad fall. He wears a hockey-style elbow pad, and it hasn't obviously caused him any problems catching the football.
Yeah, but that pad is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every week, and you got to know that he likes this because he didn't have to fall. Caught that football, didn't have to fall on top of it.
Very quickly, the Riders convert the turnover. The Elgard touchdown converted by David Ridgway. Ray Elgard's touchdown grab now puts him 1-up on Larry Thompson, Stefan Jones, and Earl Winfield in the pass-receiving touchdown derby. Elgard this year, for the 6th time, is a 1,000-yard receiver in the CFL. Only 3 other players have ever had 6 1,000-yard seasons. Brian Kelly, Tom Scott, and James Murphy. The Rocket was unable to stay in bounds, and he stepped out back at the 4, top field position for Toronto with 12:16 remaining in the game.
Well, Robo Kicker made a big play on that one because Ismail was looking down, trying to tightrope that thing, but he just couldn't do it. That ball was perfectly placed, and it wasn't going to go out of bounds. He actually had to catch it before he could do his little step.
36-18, the Riders lead. Toronto, at one point in the 3rd quarter, was ahead 18-15. 1st and 10 from the 4-yard line. You think that Foggy will get some pressure here, John?
Guaranteed.
Well, he was checking the movement of the Riders defensively, and as a result, he took too long in getting the play underway, and they were also a man short on their offensive unit. Paul Massotti just now coming into the ball game.
Well, somebody's got some explaining to do. Denny Meyer is not going to be very happy about AWOL. When people are absent without leave, he's going to want to know why. Foggy did the best thing, waited until he got a man in.
Half the distance to the goal line is the penalty, so it's 1st and 10 from the 2. Handoff straight ahead to the pinball, and the pinball got to the 9, and he continues to drive forward. Stopped finally by Gary Lewis. For a little guy, you know, the pinball has tremendous upper body strength. That's something he's been working on this year under the direction of Chris Gaines.
Yeah, he is a strong guy. You wouldn't expect him to be strong because he's so quick, but he can bench press about twice his weight.
You can do that, can't
you? Depends.
5'7", 170 pounds, the vital statistics on Mike Pinball Clemens. 2nd and 1. Kevin Smelly should get the 1st down out across the 15. Well, for much of this season, they have been the Argonauts, with a defending Grey Cup champions. The last time that a team won the Grey Cup and failed to make the playoffs was 1973, when the Hamilton Ticats, having won the Grey Cup the previous year, missed the playoffs the following season. The Argos don't want that to happen to them in this 1992 season, but they are currently in 4th place in the East. Swing pass to the pinball. He tries to cut back and is stopped up at about the 22-yard line.
Well, one of the things that the defensive team from Saskatchewan has done is put good pressure on the passer, and Gerald Bayless at the nose tackle requires those centers to really be heads up. And usually they attract some help. And you see Dan Ferroni coming in after Beckstead tried to strangle him. Ferroni had to help him. If your nose tackle can do that, he's doing well.
2nd and 3. Mike Clemens isn't going to get it. Last year, after 12 weeks, the Argos had scored 466 points. This year, 340 points. That's an average
we don't need a big team. Let's go.
10.5 less points per game than in their Grey Cup championship season.
Now that's a big cut. When you take 10 points off of your average, I mean average for every ball game, they're only at 28 points a game this year. Of course, Saskatchewan's not much better, 28.2 or something like that.
But the Riders have allowed substantially fewer points this year than a year ago. They've shaved that number by 139. The 3rd down gamble with Kevin Smelly pays off, and the Argos retain possession.
I think the strength of Saskatchewan's ball club is their defensive line. And their defensive line coach, Quick Parker, a former outstanding defensive lineman in the league, he's gotten all kinds of credit from Gerald Bayless. You hear those guys talking about it, Gary Lewis and Bobby Juris, and they say Quick Parker taught us how to rush the passer.
Well, he's a pretty good man to learn from, I would think, because he had a great deal of success during his career. Foggy throws to the sideline, it's intercepted. Stacey Hairston. The Rockets after him, can't catch him, and he'll score. Turnovers now that have plagued the Argos this season. A 40-yard interception return by Stacey Hairston.
Well, they always tell receivers, you're supposed to run after you make the catch. Hey, you can do that as a defensive back, too. Look at Hairston. Those defensive backs love to score. They don't get a chance to do it very often.
He's got his own version of an end zone celebration, much to the chagrin of Ricky Foggy.
Foggy was out around the contain. No reason to have the interception, except that Hairston came right up in front of the intended receiver. Now he's going east, he's going west, but he went north.
A 40-yard interception return for Stacey Hairston. David Ridgway adds the point after as the Riders are turning this one into a rout. 43-18 is the score, 8:39 the time remaining in the ball game. But those turnovers that we have talked about during the course of this season continue to plague the Toronto Argonauts. 21 of the 43 points have been the result of Argo turnovers.
Well, none of them hurt more than this one because still with time to go in the 4th period, you would think that Foggy out around the contain had an opportunity to complete the pass, but Stacey Hairston got right in the line of that football. And did he ever do a dance? Before he scored, he did somewhat of a dance.
Stacey Hairston, who was chastised a week ago for his hit on the Rocket that put the Rocket out of the ball game, with a key interception for the Saskatchewan Roughriders and a 40-yard return to pretty much put this one away for the green and white and keep them alive in the chase for first place in the West. Eddie Brown has problems handling the ball. Now he starts upfield, but he doesn't get beyond the 29-yard line, stopped by Ray Bernard, who leads the CFL in special team tackles. That was a 17-yard run back. At McMahon Stadium in Calgary, the Stampeders have taken control. Alan Pitts with his 2nd touchdown of the game, a 55-yard throw from Doug Flutie. It's 33-10, the Stampeders leading Ottawa.
Well, here's a special moment. These guys are the backbone of your football team. The 10 guys that go down on special teams. There's Ray Bernard. He leads the league in special teams, but he missed 2 ball games, Don.
He's a backup linebacker out of Bishops in his rookie season in the Canadian Football League, doing a big job for Saskatchewan. Foggy throws deep, intended for Murray. Albert Brown knocked that one down. I think Murray felt Albert Brown had interfered with him. I'm not sure he doesn't have a valid point.
Well, there's no question Albert Brown did grab him before Murray made his cut. Murray was trying to cut back to the inside. It would have been a completion. He just reached out and grabbed him, and Murray couldn't make the cut. That is interference. We didn't get a chance to see it from the beginning. When he made the break, Albert Brown impeded him.
I like that. Impeded him. 8:02 remaining. Sounds a little better, I guess, than he knocked him down. To the sidelines for the Rocket, and he should have the first down, taking it in front of Vincent Donaldson. You know, Vincent Donaldson last week, when the Riders were flying to Toronto, fainted on the airplane. He stood up to walk down the aisle. He fainted. Some of his teammates were suggesting that he fainted because he was concerned that he'd have to cover the Rocket at the Sky Dome, but it was because of an anti-inflammatory medication that he had been taking that caused him to momentarily pass out.
Well, he can cover the Rocket. He's done a good job against him in these 2 ball games.
Williams on the sidelines has a first down at the 50 of Saskatchewan. And now we're seeing Foggy operate as when he is most effective, I think, when he's rolling out, not standing back in the pocket. He's gone from sideline to sideline on this drive.
Yeah, he's got to change it up, and here he gets a good job of finding the open seam by Williams. It's a zone coverage. Williams works to the outside, and Foggy connects with him there. Ricky's got to always change up the launch point, the point where he throws the football from.
The Rockets open, bounced out of bounds by Stacey Hairston, but he was already out of bounds.
Well, that was a much cleaner hit than we saw last week that put the Rocket out of the ball game. Actually, it's the same play. The Rocket caught the football out of bounds, but Hairston came up and put his chest on the Rocket's chest.
7:08 remaining in the game. 43-18, Saskatchewan leads Toronto. Craig Hendrickson obviously has a shoulder problem. His brother Scott is in the ball game in his place. Right now, the Saskatchewan defense is on the field trying to stop Ricky Foggy. 2nd and 10 from the 50-yard line. Foggy throws, intended for Williams. He's got it. Did a good job of coming back to the quarterback.
Well, I guess that could be turnabout being fair play, because Williams actually pushed off of Albert Brown. Watch him as Albert Brown tries to close in. Williams said, "Uh-oh, it's a short pass. Get out of my way," and he went in and got the football.
One of the difficulties receivers have sometimes, Joe, is getting into their routes because the defensive backs try and knock them off it.
Well, the one stat that doesn't show is interceptions.
Foggy has better statistics than Kent Austin this afternoon. Oh, did Suter put a hit on Nastasiuk right at the 15-yard line.
Well, Glenn Suter really got a nice hit on Nasty, but you know, Nastasiuk, he doesn't seem to mind. We've seen him time after time take those hits and still catch the football.
Nastasiuk came out of training camp this year as the starting fullback for the Argos. The Wilfrid Laurier product had impressed Adam Rita during training camp. Glenn Suter, I'm sure, impressed Don Matthews with the hit he put on Nastasiuk, but Matthews is already impressed with Suter's play. As I mentioned earlier, he claims he's the best safety in the league. Off the fingertips of Eddie Brown. Stacey Hairston was covering. Trying to impede him.
He tried to impede him again. Foggy put it in his fingertips. If you get it to the fingertips, you got to catch it, right? No matter who's impeding you.
It will be 3rd and 5 from the 15. 5:27 remaining. The Argos empty the backfield. 3 receivers to either side, intended for Williams, incomplete. Albert Brown defended against him, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders take over at the 15, and that is considered another turnover on the part of the Argonauts with 5:16 remaining.
Saskatchewan takes over, 1st and 10.
We've been seeing these statistics almost all season from the Argos. 5 turnovers this afternoon, and those turnovers have contributed to 21 Saskatchewan points. The Argos this year way out in front in the turnover department. They have given the ball to the opposition 60 times.
I think they've discovered the enemy. The enemy is us.
Austin throwing deep for Brown. He's got it. No, he can't hang on. Ed Berry knocked it out of his hands. It looked as though Brown had it, and Ed Berry got up to knock it out of the hands of Reg Brown.
Well, I'll say this, Ken Austin isn't resting on his lead. Put that football out there.
Austin wants to improve his personal statistics and get over 300 yards for the 9th time this year.
You think this is the dueling quarterbacks, Don?
4:57 is the time remaining. The Riders with a win today can stay within 4 points of first place. Fairholm can't make the catch.
You know, what Kent Austin's probably doing is trying to destroy the keys. This is what a lot of teams do when they get a lead. Because every team is scouted. They have computerized printouts. So they try to destroy all of the tendencies. They get different formations and show different plays so that when the opposing team tries to break it down, they don't take into account when these things happen. So they disguise what they really like to do late in a ball game with a lead. But I don't know, he went to Fairholm, so maybe he's not disguising it.
Fairholm was the key receiver last week, as we have mentioned, 244 yards in a 39-32 loss. The Rocket having some problems picking up the football. There's a penalty flag on the play, and the Rocket is down at the 40-yard line. Big kick by Matic, a 59-yarder, and a 4-yard return by the Rocket. 4:21 is the time remaining. You know, both kickers in today's game, Hank Olisic and Brent Matic, suffered broken legs within the past year. An interference call against the Toronto Argonauts takes the ball back to the 25-yard line, and Blair Keel is coming in to play quarterback for Toronto. Scott?
Don, we've got some high-speed racing following late local news and a special edition of Sports Weekend tonight. The Andretti family comes home for the Nazareth 200. Michael tries for his 5th victory of the season as he attempts to win back-to-back drivers' championships. And again, that follows late local news. Check your local listings.
Keel has his pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. It will be 2nd and 10.
Well, there he is. There's James Quick Parker, number 40. He used to do it so well at Edmonton and the BC Lions and a little bit at Toronto the last year. But if anybody knows how to rush the passer, this guy was the master at it.
Out of Wake Forest.
For my old buddy John Makovic, who's now the head coach at the University of Texas.
2nd and 10. Blair Keel has replaced Ricky Foggy as the Toronto quarterback. He was looking for Nastasiuk over on the sidelines, and he was being covered by Dan Rasevich, the middle linebacker. So it's 2 and out for Blair Keel. His debut in the CFL saw his first pass attempt intercepted and returned for a touchdown.
Well, there we talked about the nose tackle, and Beckstead's got to give Bayless a little bit of a work over, trying to keep him out of there and protect his quarterback, and that's the backbone of the defense for Quick Parker, his defensive lineman. If you can get the attention that Bayless gets every game, your defensive line will have a good day.
Hank Olisic broke his leg in an off-season skiing accident, but he has had difficulties from time to time during the course of the season. Curtis Delgado on the kick return broke the first tackle and bounced off a couple of more before he was down by Escuerdo at the 48-yard line. Scott?
Well, Don, of course, this game is all part of the road to the Grey Cup, and the Riders, you might say, are still on it. The Argos are having trouble steering a straight line, to be sure, and the Grey Cup takes place on Sunday, November 29th at Skydome. Of course, that's the culmination of a week of activity that begins Wednesday with Fan Bowl at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, and tickets are available at Ticketmaster outlets across the country. But, of course, your best seat for Grey Cup will be with CBC Sports. We'll have the game itself and all the activity leading up to it.
Yes, and it's still very much undecided as to which teams will be participating in this year's Grey Cup game in Toronto.
My first.
Losing 2 games last year to the Argos and the first this year, the Riders have bounced back big time this afternoon at Taylor Field. 43-18 is the score with 3 minutes remaining. 2nd and 10 Saskatchewan. Lucius Floyd stopped right at the line of scrimmage, and the Riders will send out their punting unit. I mentioned that Hank Alisic broke his leg in an off-season skiing accident. Brent Mattich broke his leg last year with Calgary with 2 games remaining in the season. While Alisic's break was to his kicking leg, Mattich said his break was to his plant leg, and he said that's even more difficult.
Yeah, it really is, because you have all of your weight on that plant leg as you kick the football, so it's got to be strong.
Mattich has kicked well since joining the Roughriders. His last kick traveled 59 yards. He wants another big one here, and he gets a pretty good kick. It will bounce towards the sidelines. The Rocket fields it at the 25. Nowhere to go. Scott?
Well, Don, one of the most endearing qualities a person can have is to be able to laugh at oneself. And let me just say, if I could find the weasel who gave our production staff this picture, well, never mind. But yes, folks, the guy on the left is me, circa 1975. Elvis has been spotted at Burger King's in and around Winnipeg. You know, Don, not long ago, my wife showed our 2 boys this picture, and all our 4-year-old wanted to know was, why was Daddy wearing a costume? How do I look now?
Well, those promotional pictures
over the years,
those promotional pictures will be available. You'll autograph them after the game.
Thank you so much.
Took a while for positive identification of that picture, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm wondering why we used that return to sender theme so much last year.
1st and 10 from the 42. Blair Keel at quarterback. He gives to the pinball. This isn't going to work. Gerald Bayless makes sure of that. Can a guy change that much in 17 years?
Well, that's what weightlifting does for you. It not only makes you feel ugly, it makes you look ugly.
Scott Joe is the guy who said that. It wasn't me.
Here's a weightlifter, this Bayless. He's not lifting a lot of weight there, but he certainly knows what to do with it when he gets it up in the air.
A loss of 6 at 2nd and 16.
Loss of 5.
Gang Green has been very tough in the second half of this football game. Blair Keel being chased by Jurison. He throws to the sidelines, intended for Brown. Again, it's 2 and out for the Toronto Argonauts. It doesn't seem to matter who's in at quarterback, Ricky Foggy or Blair Keel. The Riders have been putting a lot of pressure on them.
3rd and 15.
Well, this guy puts a lot of pressure on anybody. He's very difficult to cover. He gets that running start. He's 10 yards in the backfield when he starts out. You can't cover him, and he separates from those defensive linemen because of his sheer strength.
He said, I'm not good enough off the line of scrimmage from a standing stop to get downfield fast enough to beat most defensive backs, but the rules say I can move, and darn it, I'm going to move.
And he does move before and after he catches that ball.
Delgado stopped in his tracks at the 35-yard line with 1:48 remaining. Keith Costello was there to make the tackle. You know, last year after 12 games, the Riders led in only 2 offensive categories. This year, they lead the CFL in 11.
Of course, last year, remember, Kent Austin was hurt, I think, the first 6 ball games or so.
And they didn't have Warren Jones last year.
And he's quite a player. I mean, he looked pretty good when he went in the last series, that last series that he got a chance to play. And he looked good at the University of Hawaii way back.
First and 10 from the 35-yard line. Lucius Floyd is stopped
Jones, the quarterback,
as soon as he got the football by Brian Warren. A loss on the play.
Loss on the play.
I guess when you remember what players look like from their university films, you're getting old. Because I remember Ray Elgard at the University of Utah. I mean, the guy was a force. He was a tight end. Don Matthews is going to be happy with a tight end like that.
And that has carried on into his career in the Canadian Football League. 6 1,000-yard seasons. If he continues playing and stays healthy, he could become the all-time passing yardage reception leader about 1994. Mike Campbell brings down Warren Jones at the 35-yard line.
I kind of liked what Mike Campbell did on that play. He refused to be fooled. He took the outside angle, and then when Warren Jones wanted to turn upfield, he just said, boom. He just grabbed him and threw him down, both hands, wrapped him up. Wasn't much deception.
The Rocket waits back at the 35-yard line as Matic stands at his own 20-yard line. The Argos will remain 4 points back of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They got some help, though, on the weekend in their pursuit of Winnipeg for the final playoff position when the Bombers lost 45-25 Friday night to the Edmonton Eskimos. Dan Rashovich doing a good job of tracking down the Rocket. Hey, the linebacker showed some pretty good speed there, Joe.
He knew what the Rocket was going to do. He anticipated him going wide, and he took a good angle. And you're right, the guy can move.
Spent 5 years as a weak side linebacker. He moved to the middle this year, and the Riders are happy with his play.
Well, a lot of the non-import linebackers are playing inside. You know, Ruck is doing a job of hawking over, and BC playing in the middle. That might be a non-import position.
Clemens. Stopped by McLeod, and Rasovich came in to help out.
Stopped by 29.
43 seconds the time remaining here at Taylor Field.
There's the extra defensive back playing linebacker, and he does a good job on run support. That's usually the problem if you put a DB at linebacker.
Kevin Smelly got close to midfield before being tackled by Glenn Suter. While the Saskatchewan Roughriders are at home next weekend to the Hamilton Ticats, the Toronto Argonauts on Saturday night will entertain the Edmonton Eskimos. We'll have the Hamilton at Saskatchewan game for you on Sunday afternoon, and then on Thanksgiving Monday, part of a weekend doubleheader for you, we'll be at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa as the Ottawa Roughriders entertain the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That could be a very key battle for both teams. Clemens bounced off the first tackle, trying to get to the outside with a couple of moves. He'll turn what appeared to be a loss into a gain of about 5, stopped by Stacey Hairston. And this should be, or was it, that was the last play of the ball game.
Well, you know, Denny Meyer's got to be disappointed in the turnovers. That's the big thing that he has to feel bad about, because that put them in good field position. Don Matthews took over a good offensive unit. He's building the defensive team, and they got the turnovers this game.
Well, disappointment this afternoon for Brian Warren and other members of the Argos. But the Saskatchewan Roughriders remain alive in the chase for first in the West with a 43-18 win.
Well, at Taylor Field today, the Saskatchewan Roughriders gave the crowd what it came for, a victory over the Argonauts. The Argonauts, of course, the team that others love to beat the most in the CFL. The key weapon in the Rider attack today, fullback Milson Jones. A solid choice as our MVP. And do the Riders not have enough offensive weapons that they have to start throwing the ball to the fullback? Well, it worked today. Jones caught passes for 114 yards, 1 for a touchdown, and this one that went for 60-plus yards. Set up a major score at the end here as he made the diving gasp to get to the goal line. Milson got his bell rung, but he's okay and joins us now. At least I assume you're okay. If you're not, this could be an awfully long interview. Are you okay?
Well, yeah, I've got a pretty hard head, but I lost the battle with the turf down there. So, you know, I'm just glad I could help today. You know, there's been a lot of speculation about our backs, and we're not running the ball that well, but, you know, we get in the passing attack, and, you know, things work out for us.
Yeah, the big question about the Saskatchewan Roughriders, if there's any question right now, is whatever happened to the running game. You weren't running the ball today. You were actually employed more as a receiver, but I guess that feels good as well.
Well, coming into the season, you know, the pass was our main objective on offense, and this time of the year, I think we have to seriously get down to the business of getting a running game, because it's getting awful tough, and defenses are putting an awful lot of pressure on our O-line and quarterback. And in order to ease some of that pressure, we have to be able to run the ball, and that's something that we're going to have to work on.
Milson, what about the speed you showed in that 64-yard rush there when you caught the ball? You had guys with 4.4 speed chasing you, and they couldn't catch up to you.
Well, see, it's a psych play. They see a little old bowling ball running down the field, but bowling ball gathers momentum the further it goes. So, hey, whatever. If I can get the yards, I'll get them any way I can take them.
Okay, Milson, thanks for your time. Congratulations on a fine game today.
Thank you very much, Scott.
All right, Bobby Jurison, also a star for the Roughriders today. He returned to the lineup after missing 4 weeks with cracked ribs and witnessed this bit of action, which would tell us that he is okay. He recovered a fumble and tried to work his way toward the end zone. Almost got there, and all of this while wearing a flak jacket to protect those ribs that were cracked, but we assume are now healed. And great game for you, Bobby. I guess you must have felt as though you were in top form. You certainly didn't seem to miss a beat.
Well, the 4 weeks off took me a little bit to get the game conditioning, just the excitement of playing again. I really miss playing on game day, and I'm just glad that I can contribute to the win today.
What did you do when you were off for 4 weeks to stay in condition? Because, as I say, you looked like you were in pretty good shape.
Well, first of all, I drove my wife crazy. She doesn't like me anymore. The kids don't like me, but I did a lot of Stairmaster. I did swimming, and I rode the bike a lot, and that kind of kept me in pretty good game shape.
This defense is tailor-made for you, isn't it? This pressure defense where you get to run flat out after the quarterbacks on most every down.
It's fantastic playing with guys like Gary Lewis, Gerald Bayless, and Robert Banks, our linebackers and DBs. It's 12 guys working as one, and if we're going to keep winning, that's the way it's going to have to be. It's not just one person, it's 12 guys.
Bobby, does this team honestly feel as though it's still got a shot at first in the West?
All we have to do is keep improving each week, cut down on the mental mistakes, and anything can happen here on in the rest of the 5 games.
Hey, that was about, what, 6 cliches and 1 answer there? That's banned in this program, I forgot to tell you.
I'm not going to give you a straight answer. All we got to do is cut down on the mental mistakes and just keep playing.
Let's say this, you do have control of your own destiny because you have 2 games left against Calgary, 1 against Edmonton. They're the teams you have to catch.
We're just looking at Hamilton coming up here this week, and if we can get another win at home, then we have to hit the road there for a little bit, and hopefully our record will be better on the road this year.
How would you rate the mood on this team versus last year?
I think it's on a very upswing. Our defense is playing great. The offense is throwing the ball a lot. We just got to develop our running game a little bit more and throw the other defenses off guard. But other than that, I think we're playing pretty good.
Should ask you about the ribs. Were they sore at all today?
I didn't really feel the ribs at all. Once the game got going, the adrenaline started pumping. I didn't really feel them at all. But I guess they'll be a little bit sore to come tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Bobby, for your time.
You're welcome.
So the Riders, led by Jurison and Jones, win today. Big time over the Argos. Don?
And Scott, as surprising as it may seem in a 43-18 win by Saskatchewan, and after the Argos had just 9 yards in offense in the first quarter, they had 416 net yards to the 333 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. But the Roughriders win the most important statistic, and that's the one on the scoreboard, 43-18 the final score. And that statistic, second from the bottom on the left-hand side of the page, 5 turnovers, Joe. It seems every game this year when we've been involved with the Argos, we've been talking about turnovers.
Every game we seem to say, if it weren't for the turnovers, this would be a whale of a ball game. But what happens to the Argos? They get in bad field position because of those turnovers, because of mishandled punts and things like that, and they dig themselves into a very big hole. You got to be a great football team to come back from 5 turnovers.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders, of course, converted those turnovers into 21 points, and that is also a key.
And you're right, they got touchdowns instead of field goals. And when you can get touchdowns, when you get turnovers in good field position, you're going to win the football game.
And now the task of catching a playoff spot in the East becomes even more difficult for the Argos.
Well, the Argos have to look at whether or not they can catch Winnipeg, and they're going to have to start winning in order to do that.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders still have a dream of finishing first in the West, and their chances remain alive with their win this afternoon. Scott?
Okay, Don, so Saskatchewan gets redemption today after losing to the Argos last week, and it could yet be a battle for first place among 3 teams in the West as the Riders keep pace with Edmonton and Calgary today, although we await the final between Calgary and Ottawa. At last word, it was 40-11 for the Stampeders with about 12 minutes to go. The Argos, meanwhile, miss a chance to start a win streak under Dennis Meyer. 43-18, the final at Taylor Field. 1 week today, same time, same place for our next telecast. Saskatchewan is at home to Hamilton, and we've got a late night edition of Sports Weekend tonight following late local news, Indy car racing from Nazareth, Pennsylvania. Check your local listings. Thanks for watching this game, and goodbye from Taylor Field.